welcome back to the Premier League preview show here on Citi TV. Let's get into some other games that are coming up. There's Spurs versus Chelsea. So it's a London derby on our hands. It's Spurs on one hand, the team, I call them the second half teams because they play really lackadaisically in the first half, and then all of a sudden they just look more expressive. They come alive in the second half of games. Chelsea, though, have bigger issues on their hands. They have won once in their last 10 matches in all competitions. That is as abysmal as it gets. I wonder if Chelsea fans still know how to celebrate a victory at this point, because it's been so long since Chelsea celebrated a victory. I'm wondering, look, Chelsea fans out there, I want to hear from you. Let's have the text and WhatsApp numbers on our screen. So, Chelsea fans, let me know exactly how you feel about your team. You think your team can turn this poor spell around? Arsenal fans as well, how are you feeling about your goal scoring chances? And Manchester City fans, if you are out there, I know you are very rare in this part of town, but if you are out there, do you think that your team's reliance on Haaland can hurt your season? Let me hear what you guys think out there. But see, let me start off with you. I got the biggest shock of my life when Chelsea lost that game to Southampton, because everybody around me said, yeah, we know we are bad, but we are not bad enough to be losing to this poor Southampton team.
I think that's what everyone thought.
The poorest team, I would say, in the league this season.
Yeah.
And Chelsea looked so flat. There was never a spell, maybe a couple of very great chances they got, but it was never a period of time during the game I felt like a goal is coming for Chelsea. They were threatening and all that, but you never felt this.
There was never any impending danger for the opponent.
Exactly. Sometimes you can just feel this inevitable goal just coming, and you feel like the crowd is just sucking the ball into the nets. That's not what happens with Chelsea of late. And I don't know what
creativity is a problem.
It's a big problem. It's a big problem. But the thing about Chelsea is sometimes when you watch them play in Spurs, they're actually playing not too bad. They're playing quite well. The game against Dortmund.
That was the last good game I watched from Chelsea. That was a really good game in the bad patch they've had. Exactly,
a really good game from them, but just one counter. I feel like I think that was the first or second shot Dortmund got, and they got a victory. Football happens like that sometimes. The game against West Ham, the same. I feel like Chelsea played quite well. They acquitted themselves well in both halves in that game, but just for some slight lack of concentration, they just considered the equalizer. They couldn't really get a second goal, and I felt like the referee also didn't do well for them by not blowing for that penalty. I feel like it wasn't a penalty. I feel like it was a penalty. People say natural falling movement. Come on.
I mean, it's past and gone, so it is what it is.
Yeah, but I feel like it was a penalty. I feel like they were harshly done by in that scenario. So they are putting in some good performances, but I think they're just missing that clinical edge when it comes to creating a chance, when it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net. But as to how they are progressing the ball, as to how Graham Potter is trying to get them to play, I feel like they have come quite a way since he first took over. The results are not coming in, but I can point to a number of good games they have had. The Liverpool games are another example. Although Liverpool are also quite abysmal in during this stretch of time.
I was just asking a question about which fans dread watching their games more every weekend. Liverpool fans or Chelsea fans?
I think it has to be Chelsea, because one win in 10
is a horror show these days.
Yeah, very bad. So Chelsea have some games, they do acquit themselves well. And I don't know, I just have a sneaky feeling that tomorrow they might do something, because this so-called derby has been dominated by Chelsea year in, year out. They're able to get the victory against Spurs. And I feel like they have that mental edge over Tottenham Hotspur, especially these current crop of Tottenham Hotspur players. Although Chelsea have a whole new 11 also, very new to the league and stuff, they have some experienced heads over there. They have remnants of, you would say, the old regime still around. And I think if they can just rally themselves, I think they can get the victory tomorrow.
I was just about to ask that question. You've spoken about the tactical side of things. Is Graham Potter a manager who can motivate players? Because I honestly don't see it. Look, sometimes I feel like when it comes to motivating players, it's not even too much about what you are going to say. Some managers can motivate players basically with their aura on the sidelines. And do you see that for Graham Potter? Is he somebody who, because what I'm hearing is there was a video, I don't know if any of you saw it. There was CCTV footage of Chelsea players the last game they lost in the tunnel. They looked so crestfallen, and like you could tell that the confidence had been sucked out of the team. And if I have Enzo Fernandez, Mudryk, Madueke, Joao Felix, and they are playing like this, I'll be worried about motivating my players. Like if I'm Todd Bowley, I'll be very worried.
Yeah, I'll be very worried if I was Todd Bowley as well. But I don't think Chelsea are in a position to get rid of Graham Potter at this point in time. The guy has a 6-year contract or 5-year contract and an additional year. He's getting 10 million a year. If you're going to truncate or bring an end to that contract right now, how much are you going to pay this guy? And he hasn't given gone
over the course of the contract.
like they do for everybody.
Yeah, don't.
Well, I don't think getting rid of him right now is an option for them because of the investment they have made into him. And Todd Bowley doesn't seem like the Abramovich kind of.
I won't sack this guy.
I feel like, and given the rumblings that are coming from Cobham as to the fact that they are now shifting their whole emphasis into a more data-driven kind of approach to games. And obviously it means that they have done their research, they have looked at the underlying numbers, and they feel like Graham Potter is somebody who can take the team to the next level. So
if they are looking at data, I just have this to say that most of the games that they've struggled in this period, they've had the better XG. Yeah. And I've said this before that to a certain extent, there's only so much you can do. Sure, you can select better finishers, maybe, but the chances are being created. It's Kai Havertz and Co who are not taking their chances. So for me, Graham Potter can only take maybe, I won't say 30,
50%?
40. Oh, yeah, 50% because you're the manager. But the players also have to take a lot of the blame because I think there's some silly mistakes and some lack of concentration in there.
Land for me, Sydney, on that point.
Yeah, so that's how I was saying exactly. So Potter, he can't take them forward if only they have the patience for him. But patience is a very expensive commodity when it comes to top-level football. So as to whether they will have that patience for him, I really doubt it. But if they're able to stick with him, because you just give the guy a 6-year contract. You can't just terminate it after, it's never been, 6 months yet.
And it will send a bad signal to all incoming managers.
Exactly.
That we thought this was a change of how things were being done. Looks like we are back to square one.
And even to the players, because from all the newly recruited players, you can always hear this one theme running through, that they were all convinced about the Potter projects, the Chelsea project. So it seems as if what has been sold to everybody surrounding Chelsea right now is a long-term thing, not really a short-term thing. And even you can see from the articles that are coming out, Potter is supposed to be under massive pressure, but he's not under massive pressure. He's under pressure from you, say, the fans and stuff. Yeah. But nobody from the media is putting him under any pressure. You are not hearing any rumblings coming from the Chelsea that
the English people like seeing one of their own in the top club.
Yeah, so
they love it.
Yeah, so he's not under any serious pressure. He can even get a draw and lose the next game. I'm sure he'll still be there. So, and this is a very unfamiliar feeling for Chelsea fans, especially
they are really going through it.
The ones in Africa and Ghana
they've been used to nothing but success.
Exactly. So it's a tough time to be a Chelsea fan. I sympathize with my fellow Chelsea brothers. I have a lot of them who they can't even turn on the TV nowadays. It's so bad for them. But as I was saying, I feel like tomorrow they can't sneak a win because, as I said, the XG hasn't been bad, and Spurs themselves, I don't think they are anywhere near how they should be playing.
Yeah. I just want to ask the two of you a question. Do you think that it's in Chelsea's interest to bring Lukaku back, considering their striker issues?
I think that ship has sailed.
Because they are going to have to buy a striker.
That ship has sailed.
And you have Lukaku, he's not had a great season, but you ask yourself.
Listen, I think that
if
they are getting a healthy Lukaku and they are going to play to his strengths, look, I always say this, look, worst case scenario, it doesn't even matter how bad Lukaku is. If you create chances for him, I see him getting at least 10 goals a season. He's that kind of guy for me.
I would even say 15.
Yeah.
From what you've seen from him in the Premier League.
If you create chances for him and he's not having to go to the physio after every 2 games, he's the kind of guy who will score goals for you. I think that they need to swallow their pride. A lot of water has gone under that bridge. The manager has moved on. Ownership has changed. Granovskaya has moved on.
I believe he was also their top scorer last season in the competitions anyway.
I mean, a lot has changed since the bad blood between the two parties. So it will be interesting to see because I've already heard rumblings that Chelsea don't want him back and Inter Milan don't want to keep him either. So Lukaku might be in a bit of a bad place, but if I'm a manager, I'll take Lukaku back. I'll definitely
take him back as well, but I just feel like a lot has gone on. I don't think the Chelsea fans have even forgiven him, especially for that bombshell of an interview.
Even the Inter fans were angry at him for leaving.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what's going on.
He just bending
Lukaku is in no man's land right now.
United fans also aren't biggest fans of Lukaku since he left. So it seems like he's just bending bridges everywhere he goes. So
Lukaku is in no man's land now. Let's talk about Spurs though. They fortunately somehow have played their way back into the top 4 because of Newcastle's poor form. Can they hold on to this? They've had a good result the last time out. Can they build on this? Can they finally find something within this inconsistency that they've been operating in the whole season?
I think from the numbers we saw about their kind of record in the league, they don't draw too many games. Usually they win or they lose. And I think that's the difference between them and Newcastle. Newcastle draw too many games.
Yeah.
And the truth is, look at the way football is set up. 2 draws is the same as 1 win. You know, so Newcastle's long unbeaten stretch, there's a lot of periods where they've lost 2 games all season. That's probably the least in the league. Yeah. But they've drawn so many, it becomes pointless to a certain extent. Because if this was the period, maybe it was 2 points for a win, they'd be a lot higher up the table. But in this 3 points for a win era, it's not as valuable, and that's what saving Spurs. Look, Harry Kane has been doing a lot of heavy lifting because Son has refused to show up this season. Richarlison is yet to get his first league goal. So you look at the Spurs attack and you really wonder if Harry Kane doesn't show up, who will show up? You look at the midfield. Bentancur has been their best midfielder, but he's out for the season. So you're wondering who's going to partner Højbjerg and what they are going to offer. So it's a difficult period for Spurs, but I still believe that I trust Antonio Conte. I think he's one of the better coaches in the league. And that's the only reason I still believe in Spurs, because what I've seen from them this season has been horrible. Those second halves where if you look at a lot of these second halves, it's not even that they play well the whole second half.
Yeah.
They are horrible in the first half.
They play like 10 minutes of good football in a whole football match.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's good enough to win the game.
But exactly, 10, 15 minutes, they can score 3 goals in that 15 minutes. And that's it. Then they shut up shop again. They concede so many chances. They start so deep. It's so difficult for Son and Kane to get good opportunities.
Just slow down there for me a bit. A Conte team conceding a lot of chances, conceding a lot of goals. What could be wrong? Because he's brought in defenders that he likes. He's brought in fullbacks that he likes. Why is he not able to coach this team to be as solid as his other teams?
He clearly doesn't think they are good enough because he's been complained about the players the whole season. If you remember, when Emerson Royale wasn't playing and they asked him why Matt Doherty wasn't playing, do you remember his response? He said, "I'm not stupid. I want to win." What does that tell you? That he thinks that even though the player is not playing well, what's on the bench is even worse. So he's going to
ironically, Royale has been pretty decent the past couple of matches, when they brought in a replacement.
Exactly. But look, it seems Conte is just not impressed with this group. It seems I don't know what Conte wants. I don't know that he wants them to come and buy Zidane to play midfield.
He wants Ivan Perisic to come and play at left wing back. Perisic has been garbage. If we are being very honest,
he's had his moments, but I agree with you. He's not really impressed. But that's another thing. You can't expect a 34-year-old to come and consistently be good. Yeah. If you buy a 34-year-old, you are buying him as a squad option.
But if they gave Conte the chance, he will buy all 30 years and 34-year-olds.
He won't waste time at all.
He would like to know in quantities. But this Spurs team and that's the thing. Compare this Spurs team to the Spurs team of the second half of last season. Night and day. If those two teams met, I bet you the team from last season will spank this team about 5-0. I'm not even joking. That's how bad they've been. Because they drop off, and you would think that now they've added some. You think that, they've added Richarlison. That's an extra goal threat. They've added Perisic. He's a better wing back than who they had before. You are looking at this. They've added Bissouma. The midfield is going to be more solid.
Yeah.
Nothing of the sort. The team has regressed, and that's the most disappointing part for me. And I think that's on Conte because you have been. I wouldn't say they've given you signings that are supposed to make your team so much better. But the team we saw in the second half of last season was just as good as Liverpool or Man City in that period. So for me, if they give you bench options to that team, to augment that team, augment their depth, you should be around the same level. You should be challenging Arsenal the same way Man City are. I don't expect you to be where Arsenal are, but I expect you to be within 5 points maximum, considering that last season you were clearly better. I mean, apart from Gabriel Jesus, if you look at the Arsenal lineup, how many starters have they really added? It's just Saliba who was on loan. So for Zinchenko. But if you look at it, they've not added some world beaters that we look at. These guys are still on the bench at Man City. And look at them now. So for me, it's very poor on Conte's part. He has to hold the blame. The players are not, because the players are playing West, granted. But the whole season, it's been
definitely will be on the manager. Well, let's take a break here.